Hi everybody, welcome to season 2 of Real Estate and Cars with Ken. It's a great day today. We're going to get a lot of rain on the weekends. We're going to take advantage and we're going to go talk to Pawel. He's brought his son up from Toronto as well. We're going to have a great drive and a great time. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey everybody, meet Pawel, good friend, drove up from Toronto. So we're going to get to know a little bit about Pawel here. So Pawel, tell everybody how tell us about your background, where you come from. I think I read that you're from Poland.
That's right.
You moved to Ireland as well.
I did.
And then you eventually settled in Canada.
We did.
That's awesome. That's a great journey.
It is.
Then you found real estate. So let's dive a little bit more into that, like how, your background, and how you got started.
Sure. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for having us. I came with my son, Oscar. He's sitting in the back.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. I was born in Poland, then spent first 20 years in Poland, and then moved to Ireland for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. Lovely country. And then in 2016 we arrived in this beautiful country in Canada. So this is we got interested in real estate in 2007 between me and my wife.
Okay.
And we started buying apartments in Europe, so Poland, Germany, Ireland.
Oh wow. You bought some in each one of those countries?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was, it was very easy to cash flow that, and cash flow was the only thing that we were focusing on.
Sure.
And again, in Europe it's a little bit different, so we were like, okay, so we will just keep on buying apartments. In Poland it's a very cheap market. Looking from the outside, of course, you can get a rental place for like 35,000 Canadian, mortgage free. Right, so it's very easy to cash flow that.
Wow.
Or get investors. It's so we still kind of do it. We do wrap it up because of the conflict that's on the other side of the border.
All right.
So we want to minimize our exposure there now. But further down, when situation stops and it's more stable, we're going to go back to that market. But when we arrived in Canada and we discovered what you can do over here from real estate perspective, with tapping into the equity of the house and using different financial products that I didn't even know that they existed, being in Europe, right? And I'm talking about 3 different countries. So over here it's a different type of market. They allow you they understand that this is your money and you can do something with it, right? Right. In Europe, I think the government, they come, I like to think that they come from the good place where they try to keep us safe from us.
Yep.
But again, it's like I think I will do a better job protecting my family financially than they will. But again, in Europe it's not really possible from my experience at least.
Right.
Yeah. But it was super fun. So when we discovered what was happening in Canada, it didn't take us long. After a year after coming to this country, we purchased our first property. It was a do-upper, right? It's like a townhouse. We done it up within 3 years.
Okay.
And we were able to swap it for 3 rentals, 7 units altogether, and an upgraded primary residence, right? So that was an eye-opener. I was like, oh my goodness, right? So we were sold on this. We spent also not only the 3 years on doing it up, but also we were learning about the business. Started joining master groups. One of them is where we met, right?
Yeah.
And this is the way to go as far as I'm concerned. You need to surround yourself with people that do something similar to you, right? And then they're further down the journey as well, right? Because we were just starting. We had a couple of things. We knew what we wanted and we were going. And with the cash flow play that we had in Europe, we knew that cash flow is something that is a must, because I'm not planning to give more money just to have the building, right? So the building has to give me money for having it, right? So yes,
that's the plan.
That's the plan at least. Yeah, put it down, right? It's like some of them, they take a little bit more work. But yeah, it's super exciting. So we started with we moved to Toronto, and Toronto is very hard to cash flow anything in Toronto, as you know.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I don't know what would have happened if. So we started circling further and further away from Toronto, and we landed in North Bay in Sudbury. Okay. And this is where we found our first deal that was actually cash flowing, because everybody was doing real estate investing. I'm like, all right, what does that mean? Because it can mean so many different things, right? And
And what year was that?
2016 when
16.
we moved, so 2017 when we started, doing this, right?
Okay.
And we couldn't find anything cash flowing, right? So we ended up in North Bay, and we were like, okay, well, we can do something here. So we got 2 houses in one day.
Wow.
And that changed a lot of things in my head, because being from Poland, we were brought up and you need to work hard and get the mortgage and pay the mortgage down, and
Sure.
in 30 years this house is going to be yours, right?
It's not just in Poland, by the way.
I know. I learned that as we were moving more and more west, right? And even in Canada, right? People have that mindset as well.
Absolutely.
And nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong. It's a strategy as well. If this is what you want and this is what gives you peace. I have friends that actually did that. They paid off the house and they're happy out. They're in their 30s and they have a paid house. They go like, we're good. It's
Absolutely.
like, so if you like stability, fantastic. So we started to, so we got these 2 houses in one day. And I was like, they never told me that it was possible, right? So nobody mentioned that before. So we discovered something that everybody was like, you can't do it. I'm like, well, watch me do it then. And we done it. So that was the day, 22nd of October, that changed a lot of things in my head.
Did you, when you left Poland and you had all these properties in different countries, did you have a liquidation event to be able to fund the properties here, or do you still have them?
We do possess them still. So what we ended up doing, we managed to find a mortgage person that was able to help a newcomer to go into a real estate with 5% down.
Okay.
So that was great. My main business is IT. I build data centers, I kit them out, and I do different things in IT. So it pays well. I can't. So we were able to save up that 5% quite lively. My wife also doesn't have a problem finding a job. She usually works for universities, creating learnings and e-learning.
Is she a professor?
No. She does the e-learning portion. So she does the video and editing and combining the whole structure together in order to present as a e-learning training. Right? So she's at the back of it. She wouldn't be the one presenting.
Okay.
But she would be the one at the back just making this whole thing happen.
That's awesome.
It is. It's a really great profession.
And which university is she working at now?
Former Ryerson. Now it's called Toronto Metropolitan University, I think they changed the name to. So now she's on maternity leave, right? Because in this country you can get 18 months of maternity leave. I was like, oh my
You
goodness,
can get paternity leave too.
I know.
Send her to work.
Being self-employed is a little bit tricky, but yes, I could.
Yeah.
I could. So yes, that's true. We got into the first property with 5% down. We're like, right, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then the fact that we're able to swap it for 4 different properties, we were like, oh my god, we found something. So then we started learning and joining more masterminds, surrounding ourselves with people that know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Then we started talking to our friends what we do once we had a little bit to show. A mention here, mention there, and now we managed to get our first investors, and we expanded to Alberta.
So are you doing this full time now?
No.
Oh, you mentioned about data centers.
Yeah, no. My full-time job is still IT. So I'm an IT by day and real estate investor by night, as they call it. Right?
Okay.
So it's we're probably getting there, but I enjoy IT. Right? So it tickles my fancy. I like the engineering portion because some people call it architects. There are so many different ways to describe what I do. But the architecture of and creating something, it's I like that. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's great. So how many units are you up to now?
We're at 9 units in Canada.
Nice.
The last purchase was a suited house in Alberta just to test the waters.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the smoothest closing that we've ever had. So when we came to Canada, I think we didn't appreciate the differences between each province on how are they different from each other.
Right.
And somebody made a comparison that kind of makes sense in my head, that Canada is like Europe when it comes to the federal government, and then provinces are like separate countries in Europe, and kind of makes sense. I do appreciate you speak the same language, and the federal government is the same. But the provincial laws are completely different. When we learned that in Ontario, the landlord-tenant board might take up to 16 months to rectify a situation where you have a problem.
Yeah.
We were like, well, what if all of them decide not to pay? It's like I can't float this, for X amount of months I can, but not 16 months. Right?
Yeah.
You would have to have a proper reserves, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep that money in my account. I want to invest in another building. Right?
And it's funny that so the landlord-tenant laws in Europe, because you have different properties in different countries, are they the same for each country, or
they're different? But there is different type of agreements that you can sign. In Poland, there is an agreement that you can ask the tenant to, if there is an issue, you need to point out an address where you will be moving out, and the owner of that address needs to sign that, okay, if there is an issue, I will take them, right? And then you're in clear, right? So if they stop paying, you just go, well, I'm sorry, it's like you need to go. And within a month they go. Right? So a month is okay, right? It's like if you have rules allowing you, because it's still your building or apartment or whatever that is, but you're still the owner. So it went, I completely could understand the Ontario portion where they tied my hands down.
It's tough.
It is, right?
Yeah.
It's like it was really interesting approach. I didn't see this coming from Europe, where there is laws and of course a kind of a balanced market. But hey, right? It's like so we had one tenant. This is where we all started, drilling a little bit deeper into this. When a tenant stopped paying, we were quite lucky because 2/3 of the rent was still covered by the government.
Right.
But right, so we were like, oh my goodness, well, we can't. This was a potential risk, and me being in IT, I'm very risk averse. I try to make sure that everything is redundant, and if we can mitigate risk, let's do it. So I saw it as a big risk if we were continue on buying buildings only in Ontario. Well, this is not a very landlord-friendly province, right?
Right.
So we started looking outside of it, and we started learning about every other province. And at the end of the day, when we were trying to expand, it was between New Brunswick and Alberta. And we made a decision on Alberta right now.
Yeah, I have a couple of properties in New Brunswick, and you're right. I mean, the New Brunswick province tried to impose the rent cap, 3.8%, and then they introduced the landlord-tenant board, which I think every province should have it, because I think every tenant has a voice. But if the rent cap's at 2%, it really doesn't help, right? Like in Ontario, it's based on the consumer price index. So right now it's 2%. Maybe next year it'll be 2.1. Et cetera, et cetera. But I'm finding that, so they abolished that 3.8 cap in New Brunswick.
I heard.
March 31st was the last day, but they said that, listen, if you abuse it as a landlord, we're going to bring it back, right?
And it makes sense, because we're all about the ethical way of doing this business, right?
Yeah.
I was a tenant in all these countries that I mentioned prior to owning something in there, right? And we had a situation in Ireland. It was absolutely no regulated market, and the landlord came to his house where I was a tenant, and he goes, next month the rent is going up 100%. If you don't like it, there is the door.
Wow.
I had 15 people in a queue. And we moved out because you can't bring up from 600 to 1200. Well, can you?
Right.
He did, right? We moved out, but that put a strain on our. So I do appreciate where what are the feelings and emotions, and I don't want to be this type of a tenant, landlord, who makes tenants feel that way. But it should be possible for me to rectify a situation if there is a problem and somebody is not paying, because at the end of the day, well, I need to pick up the bill because the bank doesn't care.
Right.
So it was very interesting to learn about all these provinces, and that BC is very similar to Ontario, and so super fun. And through the real estate, so one thing that surprised me the most in Canada is the community of people that are supporting each other, and they cheer for you. They want you to see succeeding, right? And maybe somewhere down the path you're going to do business together, right? It's like it's just this whole community it's stunning.
Yeah.
Because me coming from IT, where not everybody, but some of the individuals treat knowledge as power, because they feel that
There's a lot.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So
there's
it's
a lot.
not that supportive anymore, right? And this community was very refreshing, and you see this happening around you, and you want to be part of it. Right? You want to be helping others. So right now, doing it the 4th year now, like actively investing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we started helping other people as well, right? So this is great because you can give something back then.
So why do you do it? Like, what gets you up in the morning? Keeps you excited?
I like, for now, we're at the stage where we want to be financially independent, right? So again, I very much like IT, but if one day comes and I don't like IT anymore, I don't want to have I would just want to have a freedom of making a choice to not doing anymore, right? And have another business on the side that I've been working, because it's not you can just flick a switch and have it, right? It's like it's years in making.
Oh yeah.
So we're starting to make that happen. I'm lucky enough that my wife is exactly on the same page as I am. So we go, we move towards the same goal. She does her own thing. She has her own career. I have my own career. But this thing is something that we do together. So she's fully involved in this. She understands every concept of it and the strategies that we use. It's we do buy and hold, so nothing super exciting. We don't do flips or nothing crazy like that. Not yet. Maybe one day. But for now, just buy it, cash flow it. Make sure that it's okay and it's safe for the people living there, and we're good. Right? So put a property management in place and just manage the manager.
Yeah. So what have you set up aside, like you say, if I do this, I know I will have made it. You know what I mean?
Well, we have a number in our heads. We want between $7,500 and $8,000 per month from a cash flow.
Okay.
But we need to keep our show on the road, and then whatever happens after that. If we decide to go full time to this, sure, why not? Then we'll start doing all the flips and different type of things. But for now, we're focusing on smaller deals. We very much enjoy learning the new market and the new regulations, like getting investors involved in here, working with security lawyers to make sure that you're doing everything according to the law, and all parties are covered, right? So we try to do everything by the book, and it's a different taxation system. It's when you're in a new country, again, 7 years in this country, maybe not that new anymore, but it's still new areas that you're discovering, right? Because we have never been exposed to this at that level, and now we seem to be stepping into this whole multifamily, which is 5 and up units, right? So it's great that we have all this experience coming from 2007 with landlording and doing stuff remotely. So it's not all these blockers that some people have, that you can't buy a property in Alberta because it's 3,000 kilometers away from you.
Sure.
It doesn't really apply to us anymore. It used to back in the day, but now we're good. So we didn't, that aspect was never a question. So when we found the province that was we liked more because it was more balanced. Yeah, we didn't lose even 1 minute of thought on the should we buy it because it's so far. We knew that it's doable because we do it even further away. Right?
So I heard you had a couple of nuggets in there. That's great for the people that are listening. What tips, other tips would you have? Like, you had a tip of joining a real estate investor mindset group, find a mentor. You got your company set up. You have your goal. So what else could benefit somebody who's just starting out or is looking to level up?
I think the why is very important. For us to find our why, I think it happened when we had Oscar sitting behind me.
Okay.
It made a huge difference in my life. I quit smoking. I changed so many different things because, wow, right? It's like it's and then trying to. So this is our why, right? Children, and making sure that they do not have to go through all these hassles that we had to, and they have a little bit easier life. Once you find your why, whatever that is, right? It's going to be easier to push forward, because it's very easy to push forward and everything is going well. But when there is trouble, you need that pickup. You need to have that push that is going to get you, from the troubles, right?
Yeah, I mean, I liken it to having a gym membership. You know, it's great. You're all pumped up. The membership is new. You go almost every day, and then all of a sudden, you go every second day, and then you start diminishing, and then you make excuses.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too cold, or it's raining.
That's right.
This is in the way. It's funny how things creep into your life. It's not in the way for the first 6 months, a year, or 2 years, and all of a sudden something's in the way, and then you no longer go to the gym, or you no longer do something, right?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about real estate, is that if you're doing it alone, it's going to be a struggle, right?
It is.
So your why is going to be great, is going to be solid for you, but what happens on those days where you just don't feel like it? You know, it's connecting with the group, connecting with the mentor. We do it, we do it once a week.
Exactly.
You know, and if you're in other groups, you're going to do it up two or three times a week. And you got network events and all this stuff. And to me, I find that when I'm in a low period where I really don't want to do anything, I don't want to hear from anybody, that brings me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is important. I joined a couple of these groups. It's like I live in Durham and Ajax. There's Durham Real Estate Investing Group, so it's, they have a monthly meeting, so I try to be there and also to have the exposure and talk to people as well, right? So if you know who's doing what, it's very easy to connect people that might work together, right? If you're able to help them, well, it's just a matter of time before the karma comes back to you with a good thing, right? So,
yes, yeah, karma is very important, and that all goes towards sharing, right?
That is true.
I mean, if you mentioned it earlier, I'm in IT as well, and I'm telling you, and I'm in the federal government too. So
okay.
you get the politics, and then they don't want to share anything because you're going to take my job, right? There's a lot of insecurity that I just don't see in real estate. When you're a real estate investor, the insecurity is you.
It is.
It's not the guy next to you, because who's going to usurp your position?
No.
How can they?
This is it,
right?
They have 1,500 other buildings that they can take over.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And it's a small community, so you say, well, yeah, but if I have a deal, somebody will steal it from me. Yeah, that might happen. For sure it might happen. But guess what? It's a small community. Word will get around.
Exactly.
Nobody's going to want to deal with that person.
Exactly.
So enjoy your one unit that you just bought and you took out from somebody else, but you're not going to get help from anybody else. You're basically on your own.
I agree.
So.
And this is this community is not big, you're right. And I've been following it for a good couple of years now, and you get more and more deep into it, right? And you start talking to people. This is a perfect example. Look at us, right?
Oh yeah,
we're sitting in a Camaro, and perfect day is just stunning, right? So again, thanks very much for inviting us
welcome.
over.
Hey, I'm glad you came out.
Thank you very much.
Driving up from Toronto is no small feat. Just to spend an hour or so with me is, I feel honored. I mean,
no, it's
wow,
a pleasure.
It's amazing.
But yeah, you're right. It's like the community is very important, and over here in Europe we didn't see that because it was such a tiny deals that we were doing that we could just do it on our own, right? So we didn't need that. And Pawel and Germany being smaller markets, you can do it on your own. Every couple of months you could buy another property.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Well, it's $30,000.
That's true. That's true.
It's not that much. It's fun.
Well, that wraps it up for us, everybody.
Thank you very much.
We'll continue in season 2. If you want to connect, you can connect with me at Blazejewicz Real Estate. I'm in Facebook, and you connect with Pawel. How do we connect?
We're in PEBA Properties, PEBA Properties on Instagram.
Okay, and you're on Facebook.
And we're on Facebook as well.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Catch you later. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.